Organizations don't fail because of a lack of talent. They fail many times because of broken pipelines. Well, today on Transformation Station, we're talking about how leaders can fix the pipeline, develop future leaders, and ensure growth doesn't stall when it matters the most. Come on, let's get this conversation started. Welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, where leaders grow with clarity, resilience, and purpose. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and today's conversation is one of the most critical. It's critical because it's often overlooked. We're talking about the responsibilities of leadership, building and sustaining a strong leadership pipeline. I can't wait for you to meet our guest today. He is going to bring some powerful insights into how leaders can intentionally develop talent, strengthen succession, and create environments where future leaders are prepared, not just positions. But before we meet him, I want to remind you that here on Transformation Station, we are building a community through mobilizing with impact. We have an event coming up that I want to show you and tell you about. That's right. We have the second Lead Her Shift virtual conference that will take place. We had our first conference in January. Over 400 of you registered. Well, we have our second iteration, which this time it's going to be Lead Her Shift Adjustment, which we're saying that when challenges happen, you don't have to quit. All you have to do is adjust. So listen, registration has opened. It opened on March 13th. The dates for the conference are 13 to 16 April. I want to invite you to go right now to Mobilizing with Impact. Click that link, register, and don't come by yourself, but bring another woman leader with you. All right. And then also just remember that every Monday and Wednesday, we have Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. So go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss one episode. Well, it's time for us to meet our guest. So excited. I've been waiting for this for a while. I want you to meet Rahul Sharma. He's a leadership strategist. He's a staffing expert and a transformational coach. He's the author of Be Action Orientated and Habits for Miracles, both #1 releases, and the host of the Climb podcast. Rahul's Climb framework empowers leaders to cultivate mindset, magnify impact, and build legacy. It is my honor at this time to welcome to Transformation Station, Rahul. Welcome to our leadership podcast today.
Thank you, Adrian, for having me. It's my pleasure to be here on your podcast, on your show, and enlighten the audience on what it matters the most from a leadership perspective. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I'm excited because in this conversation, we're talking about several things. One of the things that I've been thinking about ahead of time is the fact that Rahul, leadership pipelines, they generally don't break overnight, right?
Mhm.
They tend to weaken over time. So I want to start off with this question. From your experience, your expertise, what are the most common reasons leadership pipelines tend to break down, even, and this is important, even in high performing organizations?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I would say it is a good problem to have for many organizations. One of the primary reason I have seen, Adrian, is most of the organization, they start grooming their leaders when they take up on the leadership role.
Mm,
And that's, in my opinion, is too late. And leadership pipeline don't break because organization lack talent. They
mhm,
break because organization confuse performance with readiness.
mm,
In my experience, and in many of the leaders that I speak with, Adrian, what I've noticed, leaders get promoted because of their phenomenal individual contributor performance.
Yes.
They are great in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Their top line is good. They are
Mm-hmm.
hustlers, and that's what brings them the promotion or the leadership role. Now, what we as many leaders we miss is the other aspect of the leadership, which is very important, which is leading people. And
Mm-hmm.
someone who is producing result not necessarily will be a good leader. So
Correct.
we often promote capability in doing the work instead of capability in leading humans.
Mm-hmm.
And three things happen, in my opinion, Adrian, is expectations change overnight,
Mm-hmm.
support doesn't change, and
Mm-hmm.
identity doesn't evolve. So when you move from an individual contributor to a leader, you are still leading from that individual contributor mindset because your mindset does not change overnight. So,
Mm-hmm.
so in my opinion, the number one problem or challenge I would say is do not promote someone who is just a high producer. You promote someone who is capable to lead people and groom them early on. Give them the mentorship role, give them that teaching, give them that leadership program, awareness of leadership program early on. That's where I see the gap, bridges more, and that's where the pipeline collapses.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Here in Transformation Station, we always give our listeners and viewers an opportunity to stop and assess. And what Rahul has shared with us is gold right now, right? He's talking to all of us as leaders and saying, hey, you're leading a team right now. You are in a position of influence. Be mindful not to promote
Yes.
based on dot dot dot, right? And we want you
Mhm.
to go ahead and fill in the blank and look at your culture and look at what it is that you're prioritizing to your team, because as many times as leaders, Rahul, we have the opportunity to influence, right? And
Mhm.
our team models what we put out. So if we say the priority is X, they're going to run to try to get to X, right? But we
Mhm.
want to make sure that we are promoting properly, which makes me
Sure.
think also, as you were talking, I was thinking along with that is sometimes we don't we prioritize performance over development. I have been in organizations where I've seen people who it appears as though they're meeting the mission, right? It's like they know exactly what to do to get the job done, but they have skipped all of the steps that would really develop them into being a leader. So they were promoted because they met the metric, but when they got to that new rank or that new promoted position, they were not capable of leading their
Mhm.
team because the development that was necessary to be a leader, like for example, communication, knowing how to
Yeah.
communicate properly, they totally missed that lesson because they were
Sure.
focused on the metric.
Mhm.
Have you
Mhm.
seen that before?
So many of the time, and I think you are bringing another important, a burning topic, I would say, because many organizations we tend to tell people about from a training perspective more as a reactive mode rather than a proactive,
Mm,
and it is also kind of using as a scapegoat from a training perspective because when your performance goes down, if you really do not know the real problem, you come up with this solution as a training.
mm,
Now, the training is not always the solution for every problem because when you train people, you give more information, and more information rather, does not reduce pressure.
correct.
What reduces pressure is the clarity.
Mm,
Clarity for their role, clarity for their next steps. So
mm,
most training they includes, as you mentioned about how to communicate, how to delegate, how to run meetings, or some people also are training on how to give feedback. It's very important, feedback as a fuel. But you know what, Adrian, the burnout rarely comes from lack of tools. The
mm,
burnout comes from the decision fatigue. and
Mm,
the emotional load. And
mm,
most of us, we are not very good with when it comes to emotional regulation, because
mhm,
we go through emotions from day in, day out. Uh, when we are coming to work, if something is not right at our own family,
mhm,
that impacts our work.
mhm,
And today, leaders, we carry many invisible target, many invisible weight, I would say. The responsibility for results, the responsibility for people, the responsibility for uncertainty. And what I have experienced as an L&D head, Adrian, is the training, it improves skill, but the
mhm,
burnout improves only when you know inside you, when you have the clarity from within. And this is a
mm,
bigger problem I have seen, Adrian, is whenever a problem exists, we
mm,
always tend to look outside in.
mhm,
And I believe that we need to have that inside out approach. It is the
mm,
inside, the person who is inside you is the only person, in my opinion, is responsible for the result that you need for yourself, that you need for your organization. So
mm,
that's something I would say is just information overload is not the solution. Bring that
mhm,
clarity in your people's mind, bring that clarity in your leaders' mind. They have all the tools, they have all the ammunition. Where they are
mhm.
lacking is that decision making, the decision fatigue. And I think with this AI coming in, Adrian, it is uh,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
doing more harm than good, because
Mm,
it is making things too easy, number one. And
mm,
two, it is giving you so much of information that probably you may not know how to use it.
mm,
So you are, as a leader, you are basically doing more time in evaluating the choices that AI tool is giving to you rather
mhm,
than going in the right direction. So,
mm.
uh, to sum up, it is not only about that information that you are giving. Help your people in getting the clarity. If
Yeah.
you are a leader who you are seeing that your people are not performing, the question needs to come from you. Are you giving the right direction? Are you giving
Mm,
them the clarity that they need? It is
mm,
rarely about the tools or techniques, Adrian. That's what has been my experience.
mm. No, I love this 1000%. I mean, you've said so many things. I'm just like, I wish I had my pen and I was writing this down. And one, I totally agree with you of, foot stomp clarity is pivotal. It is
Mhm.
so important. I agree with you. Many times that burnout is happening because there's no clarity. You're just, just kind of like running, trying to find the target, trying to hit the target, but you don't have that organizational clarity, right?
Correct,
Um,
correct, correct.
and yeah, man, you said so much that I'm gonna have to go back and watch this on the replay. This is like golden. And to all of our leaders who are listening and watching right now, I want to invite you right now to go ahead in the chat and tell Rahul and I what is resonating with you from this conversation. What have you seen in your work environment? And begin to share with us right now what hope is welling up inside you for how you can move forward with the conversation from the conversation that we're having today. So, Rahul, you talk about mindset
Hmm.
as a strategic asset in leadership. So,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Why do so many organizations overlook mindset when measuring success?
I think again a great point. And in last 2 years, since I have been out of corporate, Adrian, I have encountered many people who use this lingo of mindset. I have encountered many mindset coaches also, because it's been trending. So everyone is talking about mindset. But what I see, why many organization, they are still not able to tap that mindset aspect. The simple reason is you don't see it is invisible in the spreadsheet.
Hmm.
And we as leaders, what we look at the spreadsheet, the numbers. Many of us, we measure revenue, we measure attrition, we measure the utilization of resources, we measure the retention of people, we measure the output. But
Mhm,
mindset, in my opinion, determines all of them.
mhm,
But there is no very meaningful way for you to measure the mindset. So that's where people organization overlook on that. And the way I look at it is a fearful manager is the one who micromanages his or her team.
Right.
And micromanagement, that kills that concept of entrepreneurship, that kills the concept of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that ownership that really drives people to get better, not just for themselves, but for the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have ownership in your people, that actually is a loss of performance. Uh, because
Mm.
sometimes the individual contributor or your manager, they need to take that decision right in the moment.
Yes.
We all know about Southwest Airline, how successful for decades they have been very successful and profitable airlines. And one of the uniqueness when I did my own deep research about them, they give full empowerment to their front desk people, to that front
Mm.
employee. If you are on a call with them, very rarely you will hear, "Can I put you on hold? Let me talk to my manager."
Mm-hmm.
They have that
Mm-hmm.
empowerment to take the decision. They have the
Mm-hmm.
empowerment to make the call right there and then. And that is also I have experience with this company called Zappos. Tony Shea was the CEO, and the way he created the culture was phenomenal. The people were
Mm-hmm.
so. So that's where I'm too big on the mindset part, Adrian, because it determines everything. Your mindset determines your action. First of all, your mindset determines your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts determine the action, and
Mm-hmm.
it is based on those actions whether the results is on a positive way or a negative way.
Mm.
And yet, many organizations, we try to fix our performance with processes. And yes, processes are important, the systems are important, but it is also the psychology of people, how people work, what motivates them, what really excites them is the missing link. And mindset is no more of the soft skill, in my opinion. It is
Mm-hmm.
the operating system behind every decision that we
Mm-hmm.
make or our leaders make. So that
Mm-hmm.
is what I would say. And as I said earlier, rarely we see that in our spreadsheet. You will never find anything around
Yeah.
mindset on the balance sheet. So it's invisible. So if you can't see,
Yeah.
you cannot measure, you cannot observe.
Mm-hmm. But it's so pivotal, like you're saying, right? I saw this and I loved it. It says mindset, however, is a leading indicator. Like Rahul is
Mhm.
saying, it shapes resilience under pressure, it shapes decision quality. I have seen over the years how many organizations, as leaders, many times we treat mindset as an individual responsibility rather than a leadership and cultural responsibility because of exactly what you were talking about. But I have seen in my own organization where that mindset, it influences my team morale. It influences decision stability. It influences organizational confidence. And, there's a big buzzword now or buzz phrase, psychological safety in the workplace. Yeah, right? Mindset, it influences that. It leans on that or it connects with that psychological safety. If your mindset is off, that psychological is safety is off, then the trust diminishes amongst the team, and it's so important here. So to every leader that's listening and watching, again, we want to talk to you as leaders. Mindset is important. Yes, your metrics are important, but what is the foundation for the
Mhm.
metrics? It's the
Correct,
mindset.
correct,
And mindset is contagious.
correct.
So,
And Adrian, if you
mhm,
may allow, can I give a practical tool for people to evaluate their mindset?
yeah.
Because it comes so often in our conversation, and people think that, okay, it is good, but how do I know the mindset of my own self and my people? And one practical tool I tell my coaches is look at your activity of last week and think of the activities that you have done, your daily task. Now, if you have been doing those tasks with no pressure, if it is happening with your full confidence, that is one way of looking at mindset. That means you are on a positive mindset.
Mm,
But On the other hand, if you're doing those tasks and you are thinking that why me, why I have to do this, why can't this be done by someone else? If you are procrastinating your actions, that means you are on a negative mindset. So
Mm,
it's very easy to evaluate. If you are doing your task the way it needs to be done, one, two, three, you are on a progressive mindset, growth mindset, positive mindset. But if you are procrastinating that, okay, not today, I will do it tomorrow, day after tomorrow, that means you are having a very pessimistic and negative mindset. So
mm,
it changes from time to time. It's not that if you have a pessimistic or not so great mindset, it will remain forever. It can change. And one way it can change is talk to people whom you trust the most. They are the
mm.
ones who will bring that clarity in you and bring that most out of you. So just thought to add that, Adrian.
Yes, please add value. This is great. This is like a master class right now. I'm loving
Mhm.
this. So let me
Thank
ask
you.
you this question because we're keeping on the train of mindset, right? What's one mindset shift that you believe every leader must make to go from managing people to truly leading them?
That's a good question. What I have seen is most of the leaders, they have this notion of I know it all.
Mm,
Um, I am the best. I have all the best answers. So I would recommend that our leaders and managers, they need to move from that mindset of my job is to solve problems kind of a mindset to my job is to grow problem solvers.
mm,
And the
mhm,
one of the way I recommend all my leaders to evaluate their own leaders and themselves
mm.
is how many leaders they have grown within.
Okay.
It's not only about how much revenue you are making, how much employees that you are hiring, because
Mm,
sometimes what happens is hiring people is fairly easy than
mhm.
to retaining people
Yep.
because
Mhm,
you don't not everyone really track the metrics of the cost of rehiring. Yes, a great
mhm,
organization, they do have those kind of metrics, but not everyone. So you
mhm,
don't tend to see that numbers on the balance sheet that what is the cost of rehiring someone. um, so if you focus on retention and retention, why people quit, as we all know, people don't quit organization, they quit managers, they quit leaders. That's a very known truth. So sometimes if let's say if my chemistry is not matching with the employee, but if that employee is great resource for the
mhm,
company or great asset, we should proactively go and talk to our own leadership that there is something not working out, but why don't we move the leaders, change of command of this person to someone else? Probably this person will be more productive rather
mhm,
than letting go that resource. So that's
mhm,
one practical advice I would give if there is a chemistry mismatch. So
mm.
the moment our leader stops thinking that they are the smartest person in the room, that's
Yes.
where the leadership begins. That's where
Mm,
that thought process begins. That yes, you are the smartest person. You act as a facilitator, but not
mm,
just as a person who is the smartest.
mm,
So that would be the
mm,
mindset shift. I would say is uh, you are not the problem solver. You are the ones who is growing the problem solver. That
mm.
would be the biggest mindset shift, in my opinion, Adrian.
Yeah, I love that. To every leader, we're being invited today to remind ourselves that we should be growing those who we are leading. So ask yourself right now the real question: who are you growing? How are you growing and developing those who are on your team? I love the fact that you said that it's not our job to be the problem solver, it's the job to grow problem solvers. I
Mhm.
love that
Yeah.
1000, 1000%. So listen,
Mhm.
Raul, you've identified a four-stage growth model for leaders. Can you break down what it means to go from invisible to influencer?
Sure. So thank you for bringing that up. That's the part of the CLIMB framework, the Confident Leadership Framework. And what I have noticed is every leader, they go from this stage of invisible to achiever to influencer. Sorry, it's from invisible to potential, potential to achiever, and achiever to influencer. And what I mean is invisible, you have the potential to be the next person, but no one is valuing your ideas. No one is recognizing you as an individual. You are just hiding behind the bush. You are the one. If you are not in office, no one even care whether you're in office or not. So what happens in this stage? Why you are invisible? Because of your lack of confidence.
Mm,
My
yes.
opinion or my feedback always is, cultivate that mindset of the value that you will bring on your team and to your organization. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you pass that stage from invisible to a potential, in this potential stage, you are performing, you are getting the numbers, but still your leadership is not recognizing you as the person who can get work from others. Because as leaders, our job is we are paid higher compensation to do the difficult job. And that difficult job, as Adrian, is to get the work done from others. It's fairly easy for you to do your own job, but getting work done from others is challenging. So
It's difficult. Yes.
in the potential stage, you're recognized as an individual contributor, but yes, you are not seen as someone who can take the team to the next level. So at this
Mm-hmm.
stage, I recommend people to identify their own strength and play on your
Mm-hmm.
strength. What happens here is most of us, we confuse ourselves that, okay, Mr. A or Miss A is getting success because of ABC. Let me try to
Mm-hmm.
do that so that I can also get the success. And I
Mm,
always tell people that focus on your own strength, play on your own strength. And when you know your own strength, when you know who you are as an individual, that will really take you to the next level. And the
mm,
next level is achiever. So achiever is, who is achiever? Achiever is someone who is always on the stage, always receiving awards, having that corner office, reaching all
mm-hmm.
the milestone, but they lack the purpose. They
I
don't know
see.
where they are running, where they are going.
Mm,
And if they are not able to navigate that path well, Adrian, it can lead to burnout. And
mm-hmm.
if they're able to navigate that path, that's where they become an influencer. So if you are in a
Mm-hmm.
achiever state, the focus should be on finding your purpose, finding that vision of yourself, finding that mission for yourself, and then navigate
Yes.
yourself to become an influencer. And as an
Yes.
influencer, you are the ones who are where people who are not part of your team also coming to you for advice, for guidance. And when you become an influencer, your job as a leader is to magnify your impact and make sure that you are building the legacy. And
Mm,
and this is not a linear thing. It is a cycle that will goes on, Adrian, because the moment there is a change in leadership, no matter if you are at influencer stage, you might come back to invisible stage. If you
mm-hmm.
change an organization, if you change a department, it you can move back to that invisible stage. So uh, focus on is to know which stage you are at and take
Mm,
appropriate stage to move to the next level. That's how I know I
mm,
categorize this confidence leadership framework. And the climb is cultivate your mindset, leverage your strength, identify your
mm-hmm.
purpose, magnify your impact, and B is build your legacy. That's what leaders do, build their legacy.
I love this. I love this. So, to everybody that's watching right now, I'm going to invite you to go back on the replay and slow down the video and really listen in and catch this for this framework from Rahul. He'll also tell you at the end how you can, find out more about his books and other resources. But this is gold right here. So, as we turn the corner on this master class that we're having right here, I wanted to ask you this question because I know that we have leaders that are listening and watching, right? If
Mhm.
an organization wanted to strengthen its leadership pipeline immediately, like right now, what is one best practice, or even give us two, but what's a best practice that they should implement this quarter or that they can feel comfortable implementing right away?
Hmm. If you one thing, I would nail down that one thing, Adrian, would be decision ownership. It is not just performance. We as leaders, we should start measuring the decision ownership, the space of the decision, the speed of the decision, how impactful those decisions were. If we can
Mm,
start measuring that, not just the performance, that will really make a difference. And
Mm,
in your weekly one-on-one, I would recommend managers to check on what decision did you took intentionally took, what
mm,
decision that you missed intentionally, what did they learn, who made the decision, what was the critical factor for you to make that decision that you made. And
mm.
it is not about penalizing or reprimanding someone for taking the wrong decision, because at the right time, at that point in time, they thought it was the right decision. So it's okay. It's always learning is
Mhm.
happening. Learning is, I always talk about is when you are a failure is the first attempt to learning. So you always
Yes.
learn from those, even if you have taken a wrong decision. It's always good to know that those decisions will not work. So I
Yes.
would recommend our leaders who wants to build that leadership pipeline is to measure the decision, ownership, or how they are taking the decision, and definitely inculcate that leadership mindset early on when the people join your organization, rather than waiting for the time to for them to become a leader. So
I love
that is
this.
what I would
I love
recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. What an amazing conversation that we have had today. And I know beyond shadow of a doubt that there are leaders that want to know more from you, Rahul. They want to find out about the
Mm.
books. They want to talk more about this leadership pipeline and how to really implement it. So tell us, what's the what are you what resources do you have, and what's the best way that we can engage with you?
Sure. So, best way for people to engage with me is to go on my website, which is my full name, rahulkaran.sharma.com, and I'm sure it will be on the show notes. Um, one another way is go on my website, and the framework you can do your own assessment where
Mm,
you fall into those four stages, as I mentioned earlier. There are resources for you without getting involved, without paying a single penny from your pocket. You will get to know what you need to do, because as a leadership strategist, my job is not to do things for you. It is all
mhm.
about you who will be taking that next step. So if you are really serious about your next level, if you're really serious about your leadership acumen, go and get yourself done this leadership audit on my website. You will get those
Mhm.
resources. And if you want that to happen for your people, that's probably we can have a conversation. But I would first of all, I would want you to do your own leadership audit. And
Yes.
another thing I would recommend is AI is a big piece right now. So I do a workshop on AI for leaders, uh,
Mhm.
not teaching about the tools, but teaching them how to use AI to build their own leadership credibility in place. So that's a
I love
workshop I do every month.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. All right, Transformation Station community. Rahul is a gem right here. And so you see his link on the screen. It's also going to be in the description box below. So make sure you click on it. He has an assessment there, the framework. Go ahead, tap and do it for yourself. He says, hey, after you've done it, I know you're going to enjoy it. So definitely reach out to him about taking this to your team. Also, I really want to invite you to reach out to him and let him know that you saw, that you heard this particular episode. Let Raul know what resonated with you, and feel free to ask him questions, because we know the community that learns together grows together. Raul, it has been wonderful having you with us here today. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Wishing you all the best for your summit in April. And then people, what Adrian is doing is something phenomenal. Join her leadership program, join her cohort on April 13th. And I'm sure you will be amazed the amount of lessons you will learn, amounts of guidance you will get. So thank you, Adrian, for the community.
My honor. Thank you. Woo! Today's episode was amazing. And guess what? I learned a lot today, right? Today's episode reminds us that leadership legacy is not defined by what we accomplish alone, but by the leaders, as Rahul said, the leaders that we develop along the way. And if this conversation challenged you to think differently about developing people and strengthening your pipeline, take one intentional step this week to invest in someone's growth. Be sure to subscribe to the Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. Share this episode with a leader committed to building others, and continue leading with intention, with clarity and purpose. So until next time, remember, strong organizations are not built by chance. They're built by leaders who invest in the pipeline before they need it.